Let's bring in Arkansas Republican Senator Tom Cotton, a member of the Senate Armed Services Committee and author of the new book, Only the Strong, which is a great book, and I really enjoyed it. It's interesting, China spends its money on lots of other things. It obviously hasn't done anything to improve its health system or its hospitals if they can't take care of people if they're going to get sick from COVID.
No, Dana, it hasn't. I mean, remember, China unleashed this plague on the world, and that includes on its own people. They've had the counterproductive zero COVID policy for a long time, and now they're on the horns of a dilemma. It's very unpopular. It's caused many deaths in its own right. But if China were to relax that policy because of their low and their very poor quality vaccinations, since they refuse to use foreign vaccinations, as well as low rates of immunity, they'd have a big surge in cases. Their healthcare system can't handle that. More fundamentally, though, President Biden should not just be treating this as a public health question for China to address or giving them advice about their COVID policy. He should be voicing American support for these brave Chinese who are in the streets demonstrating against their communist government. Again, this is not just some protest on a college campus in America or European capital. These Chinese are protesting the world's most powerful, dangerous, techno-totalitarian government. And just like Ronald Reagan stood with the voices of freedom in the Solidarity movement in Poland or told Mikhail Gorbachev to tear down the Berlin Wall, President Biden, in his own voice on camera, should express our support for these brave Chinese who are protesting their communist government.
And that's very unlikely to happen, right? Look at this New York Post cover with people holding up blank pieces of paper, basically saying that they know that what they would like to write on it, but they know that they can't because their government will go after them. And there's Zhang Yang in the Washington Post. Now, he is a dissident of a Communist Party. He's a son of a Communist Party leader, but he's now living in the United States. He writes, "Don't let China stage another Tiananmen Square massacre." And I would love your take on what you think the White House should have said instead of basically yesterday saying, well, we stand with protesters, but we're moving on.
Well, one reason President Biden should speak in his own voice on camera in support of these brave Chinese protesting their communist government is to prevent another Tiananmen Square massacre, but also by saying that if there is such a massacre, if the Chinese communists use force against their own people, there will be massive consequences, not just sanctions on those responsible in China's government or withholding visas from their family members, but concrete actions like withdrawing China's most favored nation status. Again, we should stand with these voices of freedom inside our number one adversary. Joe Biden is saying exactly what he did throughout the Cold War, however, what Barack Obama did in 2009 in protests in Iran. We don't want to be seen as foreign meddling. Everyone knows we aren't meddling. Everyone knows that these are organic protests of the Chinese people, not just about COVID policies, but about their yearning for freedom. And they are dying to hear from America, from the leader of the free world, that we support their deepest aspirations.
Do you think that we're helping behind the scenes at all?
Well, we're probably not doing enough that we could. Corporate America, for instance, could take steps to help these Chinese citizens communicate with each other. Apple, which of course is deeply invested in China and has deep market penetration on its iPhones, could be enabling certain features that would allow them to communicate with each other so they can organize even larger protests. We should be taking every step possible to help these Chinese voice their deepest aspirations for freedom. That's exactly what Ronald Reagan did in the Cold War. It's what we should be doing now. And as I write in Only the Strong, it didn't lead to confrontational war. It led to peace and success and victory.
You sure did write that in Only the Strong. Thank you, Senator Cotton, and we appreciate you coming on after Thanksgiving. See you soon.